everybody, this is Jay Nunn, the San Antonio Metal Music Examiner here at Backstage Live. Getting ready for a great show tonight with Anvil headlining with Evil United. And I have the pleasure here of being backstage with the one and only co-founder of Anvil, lead singer and guitarist, Mr. Steve Lipskudlow. How you doing, Steve?
Good.
Great to see you.
Good to be seen.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you here. Obviously, you know, it's great to have you here. We did a phoner in December 2009, a month before you guys came to Austin.
Okay.
And I want to take this opportunity to thank you for that. You were a great professional, answered all my questions. It was great talking to you. And like I said, that was right before you came to Austin.
Right.
But when was the last time you came to San Antonio? When was the last time you guys have played here?
Don't remember.
That long ago, huh?
We're not even sure if we played here.
Wow.
Not sure.
First time for everything.
I think it might be the first time ever.
Yeah, we were trying to figure that out.
Yeah, it's really, if we were here, it would have been like 89, 88, something like that.
Okay. Rob, you can come join us right here on the couch. Say hello to drummer Rob Reiner. It's great to see you.
Good to see you, Howard.
Good to see you. And, you know, obviously things have, to me, it's been like a couple of different eras of Anvil. Everything, the 25 to 28 years before the documentary, and everything that has happened since then.
There's three phases.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I was going to ask.
Years, the dark years, now.
But I was going to ask you, what if there is a highlight of everything before the movie came out? All those years, is there a memory or just a moment that sticks with you guys from everything before the movie came out?
In what context?
Just most memorable, just something that sticks with you that just, you know, is something you'll never forget.
Oh, wow.
I think it's mostly what we're trying to forget.
Yeah. Listen, those years were good years. You know, we made great music all through those years, in my opinion. The world at that time
didn't know who we were.
They didn't know who we were, and you know, except the diehard fans. You know, we've always had a fan base for all our career. Mainstream had no idea who we were. But all that music now is coming out. All of it. It's for everybody to find, discover, and enjoy. So that is the real victory, I guess. Yeah. So I get the justice done, right?
A juggernaut of justice, you might say.
I don't know how to say, you know. People are discovering our music all the time. That's what we're now. You know, everything's beyond the movie. The movie shadows us and falls, but it's not like the movie no more.
Right.
That's what, man, it's always been about the passion for the music. Yeah. And that's what's going on right now.
Right. Well, as we said, Anvil's going to be headlining here in a couple of hours, and you've welcomed a new member to the fold. Sal Italiano is the new bass player. I want to say he's been with you guys for about 3 weeks, maybe?
Yeah.
How have things been working out with him? Give us a little background on those out there who may not be familiar with him.
He was a guy that we met many years ago that his band opened up for us at the Moors in Brooklyn, and we've kept in touch with him over the years. Our old bass player flew the coop 3 weeks before the tour began, so we just called Sal. When we got home from the meeting, when we found out what was going on, and you came up in a week and a half later with all the songs done, ready. So
there was not even a bump in the road.
Yeah.
Nothing, you know. And we haven't made a final decision. He is a good fit. It's working out great. So, you know, but we're not jumping at anything else.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if it would be like your wife walked out the door and you went to the local club and you picked up or went and called an old girlfriend and she suddenly moves in with you. You know what I mean? It's not.
We're not in any hurry.
You know, there's no big hurry. Like, let's just see how this works.
You know, with all of it, we're gonna do some big shows with Sal. You know, and it's going great. People, if we like them, people like them. That's what, you know.
Yeah, I don't think it's, you know, the sound of the bass is the sound of a bass. Some guys play a little bit better or a little worse or whatever, but generally speaking, the songs all remain the same. Yeah. It's who we're rooming with, who we're traveling with, and hanging out with. That's what it's really at the heart of all of it.
And of course, Glenn Five was the former bassist, a guy who had been with you guys for 14 years through thick and thin. Was his departure something that had been manifesting for quite a while?
Yeah.
It was, but you know, we don't really need. In my opinion, it's all behind me. I don't really want to talk about it because it was like it was cancer, and we cured it. The cancer was we cured. Things we cured. The malignant tumor has been removed.
Gotcha. Okay, absolutely. Well, you know, the documentary, it's been well documented. The bands that you influence, I mean, all the big names, Anthrax, Metallica, Pantera. But I would like to know, because your history together has been a good 40 years just about, who are the bands that influenced you guys to first start doing this?
Black Sabbath, Grand Funk, Cactus.
That's it. That's what's on Hendrix, Cream, Deep Purple.
Great choices right there.
You know, you're right. The list goes on.
All the
great,
70s, mostly the 70s. We were a 70s band. I mean, we started playing in together in '73, and you know, it was in around the Black Sabbath's Volume 4 album that we had. So, you know, it's a long time,
Yeah,
man.
outstanding. And obviously, you guys know Anvil is a Canadian band. I have a question from one of my social media readers, Alex from Toronto, wants to know how you guys feel about being up for the Juno Awards. I believe, is it safe to say the Juno Awards are the Canada's version of the Grammys?
Exactly.
Okay, and that's in late March, I believe. Anvil is up for Metal Album of the Year for Juggernaut of Justice. He wants to know what you guys think of that nomination.
I'm ecstatic. It's well earned, well deserved. It's our best album, bar none. You know, or the leagues have forged, whatever. And it deserves to be recognized, and it has now. That's amazing. Canada has recognized Anvil's music. Pretty serious. It's a big change.
It's all good, man. You know, we worked very hard and long, and you know, it's one of those kind of things. You know, I don't think it was ever set or meant to happen earlier. They didn't have a category for the kind of music we do anyway.
They just introduced the metal thing.
Right?
So
Yeah,
there's
it's
a place,
almost,
there's
it's
a place
almost,
to put bands
I think
like
it's,
Anvil.
you know, things happen as a matter of coincidence, sometimes seem like a coincidence, but in this particular case, you could say that it was meant to be. We didn't put out our best album till now, and now you make a category for metal, we're in.
Yeah.
It's, once again, more proof about being at the right place at the right time. That's what it's all about. The whole thing, all of it, no matter what you do. You know, you can write and you can try to create, you can try to do everything today, but if it's not meant to flourish, it won't. And then the next day, you know, you just put some songs together, all the stuff comes around, all of a sudden you get a fan that comes and you haven't seen him in 30 years, he makes a movie about you, and then all of a sudden all this stuff happens, all this great environment happens, so we start writing songs, the songs are great, and we get a great producer, and then the album comes out, and then all of a sudden we're getting a Juno Award. What happened?
Did it all seem like a dream?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Some of it feels that way.
Yeah, it's like, you know, how do you plan for this stuff? You don't. And you can try to aim and keep taking shots at it. The target keeps moving. You know, what are you going to say?
Well, I would imagine, let's say, you guys are asked, or especially you are asked more than anything about the dildo playing and how that all started. But I'm not going to ask you what went into the thinking behind that. What I want to know is, and I'm going to try to ask this with as straight a face as possible. Did you go through several different types, sizes, when you first started doing it to get the sound that you may have been looking for?
Initially the idea came from when we first put the band together. Of course, we were called Lips, and the whole sort of, I guess, what we were trying to go for was all about sexual innuendos and all songs about relationships, meeting girls, what you do with them when you meet them, and the crazy stuff. By the time we got in around to go out for the first album, or before we even started touring, before we recorded, we thought, well, we got to, you know, we looked at the things that were around us. There were bands like Angel, if you remember. So, really handsome-looking guys, dressed really nice, sort of the pre-glam era. You got to realize we're talking about 1977. So only the first inceptions of this band. So we were very careful in the guys that we hired. And we got a long guy with long blonde hair for a rhythm guitarist, a guy with really long and curly sort of hair for bass player. We were kind of very meticulous in the guys that we chose. Not necessarily meticulous in how well they played, but if they fit the part. They were good guys, and it all worked. And then we started thinking about, well, we want to appeal to women, but we also want to appeal to guys. So we thought, well, we'll dress the stage up with, hang panties and bras from the mic stands. And then I thought, I got a great idea. As a kid, there used to be this a little toy called Motorific, and there were these little toys that you all clip together and you put a little batteryized motor. And of course, by then I was playing guitar, and one day I just brought this little toy right near my guitar, and I discovered that the sound of the motor came through the pickup. So at that time I thought, motor? Wait a second, I got a great idea. And there used to be this company called Consumers Distributing, and I went over there and they sold vibrators for $3 at that time. And it wasn't something that you had to go up and ask the guy at the front at the sales desk for. You filled out a little form and you wrote down a serial number, and he'd bring it from the stock, and then you pay for it. So it wasn't like I had to say, could you get me a vibrator, please? I just handed him a piece of paper. And he brought it out, and he's like, okay, and I give him the money, and I go, cool. And it was a 1-speed, which, that was when I first tried it, I wasn't thinking, I didn't even know, I probably really didn't even know that there was such thing as a vari-speed at that time. But brought it to rehearsal, and sure enough, you put it by the pickups, sound comes out, and then of course, vibrating against the strings, I discovered, of course, modulate the strings, and because it's a very hard plastic, it can be used as a bottleneck. It was a great idea.
Wow.
Been doing it ever since.
You're innovators, man. You're innovators. Not just with that, obviously, but with the music over the years.
Well, the thing is, you have to understand, we come from an era that when you're going to do something, you got to do it uniquely. If you can't come up with something that is completely your own, stay home. And that was the thing. I had to come up with something that made me me. That no one else would ever be able to copy. Someone does this once, that's it. No one can do it again, right? That's the kind of thing. I'd never heard of anybody doing anything like that. I went, that's great. There were other things. Yelling in my guitar pickup. Never seen anybody else do it.
Well, well, I'm going to let you guys go. They got to get a show to get ready for. It's hard to believe that this very well could be, as you alluded to, possibly Anvil's very first San Antonio appearance. So we're looking forward to that tonight. Guys, Rob, Lips, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, man.
For Anvil,
I hope
Jay
that answered all your questions.
That sure did. For Anvil, this is Jay Nada, San Antonio Metal Music Examiner. We'll see you next time.